Greetings from the Freedom Wellbeing Institute. My name is Susan Stevenson, and I'd like to welcome you to this short meditation on tolerance. I ask you now to find a quiet spot where you can sit or lie down without being interrupted. I encourage you now to begin to focus on how your body feels against the surface that you are resting on. Allow your body to feel heavy and sink back into the surface. I also encourage you to begin to breathe in a normal, rhythmic pattern. As you do this, you might notice your breath coming in through your nose. You might even notice it travelling down to your lungs and perhaps even down to your stomach, lifting your stomach and chest, and then tracing its way back and out through your nose or mouth. When your breath leaves your body, it will have been warmed by your body, and you can feel this by placing your hand over your mouth or nose lightly. Continue breathing in this normal, regular pattern, and if you can, begin to slow that breath just a little. At the end of this meditation, you'll have an opportunity to drift off to sleep or to simply go about your day. Tolerance is the existence of coping with different opinions or behaviours, usually that one does not like or disagrees with. Tolerance is the capacity to endure some environmental condition without having an adverse reaction. It involves us accepting, but not necessarily agreeing with, different feelings, habits, or beliefs that may be around you. It takes a conscious effort to be able to tolerate different experiences or views that might be around you. Now what I'd like you to do is to try a new breathing pattern. We're going to repeat this breathing pattern 5 times. It's called a 5 times 5 times 5. So in this pattern, we're going to breathe in for a count of 5. We're going to hold that breath for another count of 5. And then we're going to breathe out slowly for a third count of 5. So relax, rest in, and we will begin this pattern. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Repeat in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out, 2, 3, 4. Finally in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Allow yourself to notice how your body is feeling and how you felt during that activity. I encourage you again to just relax, let your body feel heavy, and return to the normal way in which you breathe. This breathing pattern that we have just tried is a good example of how we can practice tolerance. Breathing in is natural for our body, although it requires some tolerance to slow this down. Most challenging and difficult to tolerate is actually holding that breath in. So our body usually wants to take a breath in or to let a breath out. When we hold a breath, we are holding our body in a state of stress or pressure, or it's just different. And so it requires a level of tolerance to hold the breath in that way. And then finally, as we breathe out slowly, while this is a normal activity, it requires a level of tolerance to actually slowly release the breath from your body. Tolerance and becoming tolerant is very much like practicing this activity that we have just tried. We can increase our tolerance by increasing what we give ourselves to tolerate. You could, for example, use this breathing pattern if you were sitting in a meeting, perhaps with someone who's really annoying or controversial or difficult to tolerate. You could try increasing the time that you hold the breath to develop your strength to actually hold this pattern. The advantage of practicing a meditation and breathing pattern like this is that we can learn to notice what is happening around us, perhaps the views or behaviours of others that are difficult to tolerate, but we can learn to notice, but not necessarily react. Or we can retain and give ourselves the time to reflect and consider carefully how we might respond to things that are difficult to tolerate, and end up making wiser and better decisions through taking this additional reflection time. Now I'd like you to notice how your body is feeling. Relax back on the surface supporting you and just begin to scan your body, a bit like one of those scanners at the supermarket. Notice how your body is feeling, and if there is any tension in your toes or your feet or your ankles or your calves or your knees or your thighs, in your hips or your stomach, your fingers or your arms, your chest, your neck, or perhaps in your head and in the muscles on your face. Now as you breathe out in your regular pattern, notice tension leaving your body with each exhale. So exhale slowly, and with it, see the tensions moving from your body. This meditation and breathing patterns can support you in situations where it's difficult to be tolerant. I now ask you to consider if you would like to go to sleep, and if you would, simply turn off this meditation, or if you would like to return to your day, simply begin to roll your head from side to side, wriggle your toes and fingers, begin to gently lift your arms and bend your knees, And when you're ready, simply allow yourself to get up, open your eyes, and return to your day. Thank you for joining me for this meditation on tolerance.